Hello, everyone. It's another Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brown. As always, I have the ladies with me. Look at Obiajulu Ugbo.
Let me just you know those people on YouTube that used to yab you and yab you? They missed you every day before they start any conversation. Murayo is not here today. When is Murayo coming back? Murayo is not here today.
After the yab.
Even yesterday they mentioned it. I thought Murayo was supposed to have resumed.
They even know the roster.
How you guys doing? Anyway, the London fans sent their love. They were amazing. I mean, we have huge fan base in London. About over 40 people showed up at the meet and greet. They came with their families. I mean, I don't want to start mentioning names. There was Layo, there was Mr. Kayode, I know, there was Halima Abubakar, there was Tola, there were so many of them. I mean, I'm trying to remember Ebony. Quite a number of them, but they came and they sent their love. They came with gifts for you guys. I mean, lots of, in fact, for all our children, one by one like this. Unbelievable. So I have to cargo it. I'm like, yeah, if I'm from the excess luggage. So, but yeah, you get.
How was your?
I mean, listen, I would have loved to go and sleep, but I didn't get time to sleep. You know, I was
sleep in your house.
Yeah. So I was going out every single day. I mean, when I got in, I mean, it was back-to-back family reunion, friends hanging out. People were dragging me. Till I left, the day I was going to the airport, somebody dragged me to Chinese.
That you ate.
I ate.
Honey,
I ate.
Food. I saw that.
I had some food. Got some. On my way to the airport, I still stopped at Chinese. Fancy Chinese. And I loved it. It was fantastic. So I had a great time. Thank you, ladies. It was nice just knowing that you guys held it down, you know? You all held it down. How you guys doing? And I missed you guys.
It's good to have you back.
Have you guys done your elections?
No.
We did not stop. We did not
Are you
have
serious?
our president.
I didn't say they don't do 2023 elections. We don't finish.
There's so many things waiting for you.
Hey, I don't think Buhari don't confirm. It's today.
We didn't touch him.
It's serious. Buhari is still there for government. Okay. It's all good. It's all good. All right. Let's go on a quick break. No, let me find out how you doing, Nima. How you doing? I heard you set some places on fire yesterday.
Poor little me. So me, I don't have time to be fighting anybody. I just do my own to make sure that things work normal. And I can say for a fact now, because yesterday I took time to reflect that I've been able to make impact in the areas I have called out.
Yeah.
On my area, we are no longer falling into ditches. We are moving, you know, and
Hallelujah.
I look at where I went to Google. I went to my backed up photos. I said, I've taken pictures. This one, I wanted to just start taking pictures. So I'll be visiting today.
They responded well, and I'm happy.
Immediately,
Thank
they
God,
did
thank God
respond. So this is not a vindictive call.
Yeah.
This is a call to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And Nigerians, we don't really have much to lose.
Yeah.
If you are in any office, do the right thing. Nothing big.
And if something can be done because you were called out, that means you were just sitting
down
and
exactly.
doing
I'm happy of the impact that you can have, which is great. So that will also help others.
Yes.
When they see that there's someone like you that comes to use that facility, they'll definitely do better. How you doing, Mariam? I love your shirt.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So stylish.
Oh, thank you. We missed you, and I'm just so happy that you're back. And for all the lovely gifts that you got us.
Oh, I'm glad. You know, I mean, talking about stylish, I went shopping for a few things myself, just probably one or two things. So on the last day, my sister was now saying, she now went to the store with me. She picks up some really cute things. I'm like, Didn't I see this thing? She now said, what did you now buy? And I showed her what I bought. And I said, oh my God, I wasted money. So I don't have any stylish thing. I just bought like some regular. She's like, oh God. She now looked at my box like, what the heck is this?
Oh, Lord.
You came all the way here, you bought this crap? Yeah, well, let's go on a break. When we return, we'll look at the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
I went for 2 weeks and you are already telling me whether it's just 2 weeks. Okay, let's move on. Let's start with the nation. Tinubu Atiku Obi rollout plans on economy and security. No work, no play rule. NLC backs ASU on salary arrears. BOI Nexim okay 10 billion, 101 billion naira for real sector funding, says CBN. Why I dumped NNPC by Shekarau. Scores of militants killed as NAF jets hits ISWAP's camp in Sambisa. Lawyer EFCC can probe state's account on finances. Tribunal grants Oyetola APC access to poll materials. Okay, Which story are we starting with?
Okay, let me start with why the former Kano State Governor, Ibrahim Shekara, has announced his exit from his own party, the NNPP. He said that he had to leave because the party had denied his followers nomination forms. He was the only one given, and he said when he met with his with the founder of NNPP, that's his predecessor in the Kano State Government House, Kwankwaso, he said that they had agreed that he was coming to join NNPP, but he was also coming with his supporters, and his supporters also wanted to run for office and, wanted nomination forms to run for these offices. And he said they met on many occasions, and he was promised that this would be so. But that in the end, he was the only one given a form. And for him, he just felt humiliated and betrayed. And so he has taken his exit from the party. I guess we're going to see a lot of goings-ins and goings-outs. Until the 2023 election itself.
Okay,
so the Nigerian Air Force have, bombarded the ISWAP hideout. According to the nation, the leader of Islamic State of West African province, Fiya Ba Yuram, is the one who took over from Shekau in this is their own faction of the Boko Haram, and in their enclave, the Nigerian Air Force got intelligence that they were gathering in a place in Borno near Sambisa Forest, Tumbun in Borno State, and they attacked that area, bombarded it, but they don't have clear information on whether that's the present leader of that faction, has been killed.
Yeah, so the Nigerian Labour Congress yesterday said they are still supporting the Academic Staff Union of Universities, that's ASU, and insisting on the payment of the withheld salaries of their members as a condition for ending the 6 months strike. So according to them, they said that it's unfair for the federal government to invoke a no-work, no-pay rule on university teachers who were not even architects of what has been happening that's related to the strike. And the government needs to show more accommodation, needs to accommodate them more and change their rhetorics, because I took it in the papers yesterday where the government was saying that they will be proscribing them if they do not back down on the strike. So they went ahead to also say that that's according to the Minister of State for Education, Goodluck Opa, saying that Nigerians should not allow the reports about ASU to rubbish the gains of over 3 trillion investments by the president in the educational sector, which, if you ask me, I'm not seeing where that has entered. However, ASU, on the other hand, is saying that they have not, up until now, they have not even gotten any letter from the government to, go back to work or not. That they are going to be having a meeting on Monday, and on that Monday, they will now decide whether to accept what the government is proposing, go back and continue the negotiations, or they will continue. And, government has also said that they are going to be prescribing them. So from next week, Monday, they will find out where they are exactly. Some unions amongst them, the non-academic staff and others, have decided to back out of the strike. So it's basically just ASU that is still insisting on the strike.
Okay, there was one part, I don't know, I thought you would take it, about the students asking for a sort of arrangement, PPP.
Yes,
okay.
it's a different.
Okay. All right, so I was going to take the major headline. There was a major event yesterday at the hotel. The NBA conference held yesterday. About 13,000 lawyers showed up, not physically, some were virtual, and it was moderated by Ulisa Agbakogba, SAN, and also the keynote address was given by Chimamanda, who stated that we must get elections and our leadership right in 2023. She also mentioned that we lack heroes, that we must come together to get, as a people, it starts from us. What we've always preached on this table, that we the people must take the decisions this time around. All the various parties were represented. Peter Obi was there. Shivaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu was represented by his vice presidential candidate. And Atiku Abubakar too was there. And they were all saying the various things they plan to do. So, for example, Peter Obi was reinforcing the fact that he was going to focus on education and the fact that he was going to turn Nigeria into a productive country. Atiku was saying, left about 5 major agenda he was going to do, one of which is economy, security. And I think Shivaji Bola Ahmed Tinubu, according to Shetima, because of their own track record, the work they've done in Borno, what he's done in Borno, the work Shivaji has done in Lagos State, is saying that he has formed the foundation that which Lagos is built on. So he's able to use that at the presidential level. And he also, in insecurity, is going to have the foundation which has turned Borno help concerning insecurity. So we'll see how that goes. But it was an interesting conference. It was really packed yesterday. I was at the Eco Hotel. Very packed yesterday. Moving on quickly now to the Punch. Atiku Obi slammed federal government. Shetima sells Tinubu's candidacy. Building collapse. Lagos orders probe police arrest engineer. 570 million naira debt contractor to sue Osun over airport. Olubadan fumes as hoodlums invade palace to disrupt ceremony. Rep summoned TCN over the $33 million payment to Gencos. Lawyer sues Buhari, others over the NDDC management. ASU, NEC decides on strike Sunday. And all firms owe banks 5 trillion naira amid losses and theft. Which story?
I have the human interest
Yes,
story. So this is truly a sad story. They said that a woman and her 2 children were caught up. Okay, so first of all, this house was being renovated. It's in the Bariga area. It was being renovated, and the scaffolding on which the water tank is on, and they said it was like a three different tanks of water on it, now collapsed while renovation was going on, now collapsed onto someone else's flat. In the flat was a woman, her child, and her brother, her younger brother. The woman is in her 30s, and her younger brother is much younger and had come to look for a job. Her child is a minor. Unfortunately, the child and her brother died from the impact. They said the rods and the tank, water tank, fell on them. The woman was rushed to the hospital. She had broken bones and still in hospital. Of course, Lagos State is right on the matter. They're probing those who were building this particular structure. And they're saying that it's important that when you see something, we say something. Like if something was said while this renovation was going on, if someone had noticed or if they noticed and spoke out against maybe bad materials being used or that the structure just did not look strong enough, this situation would have been saved. So,
Merely,
sort of
to renovate a building. Or...
Anyway, the Lagos State government has shut down that site, and they're going to probe it further.
Okay.
So I wanted to take the House of Reps on TCN. So the House of Representatives Committee on Finance is probing the TCN over what they call a $33 million monthly payment. It's called a take-or-pay agreement that they have with one of the power generation companies called Azura Power West Africa Limited. So just as, they have with, they've concessioned Egbin, they've concessioned other power generation companies, Azura is one of those companies, and according to this report, is the least productive in power generation. But they have a take-or-pay agreement which forces the TCN to pay Azura, whether or not it delivers, $33 million monthly. He do, do. They pay him that money. So they summoned the Oga of the TCN, and his excuse was that Azura has been generating 460 megawatts. At least it's not like MTMT. This is a power generation company that serves an area that is totally, completely unproductive when it comes to electricity, and the House of Reps sat on it. I like that Honorable James Faleke said that, we have other power plants. We have Egbin, which is the largest, it's producing 1,320 megawatts monthly. And, we don't have a take-or-pay agreement with that one. We have Transcorp. We don't have a take-or-pay. Why do you have a take-or-pay, whether or not it works with Azura? And that the TCN was unable to answer. They couldn't, answer to that question. And the House of Reps dismissed them, and they're probing further the arrangement, such contracts. They say when you enter into contracts on behalf of Nigerians, you must see to it that you are protecting the interests. Which one is take or pay?
Okay, let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we continue with the review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So there's one more story from Punch.
Yes, so the contractor handling the construction of the MKO Abiola International Airport at Ido, Osun State, JM and AS Limited, has written to the state government to demand immediate payment of the 570.2 million debts expended on the project, or they will be ready for court action. So they said that they are giving the government 2 weeks to pay the debts, following the reports that the airport has been handed over to the Nigerian Air Force by Governor Oyetola-led government. And they said that what happened was that they had an agreement to, carry out the project and complete it. In the midst of the project, they were delayed with payments. Some payments were not made. And while they were still following up on that and sending letters to the government, they just realized that the government had taken the contract and given it to another company to handle and did not tell them anything and did not pay them any amount of money. So they are taking the government to court now, saying that if they don't respond, they are going to do something about it. They need their outstanding payments for the job that they have done already.
Okay, let's move on quickly now to Vanguard. At NBA Summit, our plans for Nigeria by Atiku, Tinubu, and Obi. PDP crisis, Wike others jet out for critical meetings, says source. All theft. Experts, others indict federal government, security agencies as Equatorial Guinea arrest tanker. Aviation crisis. We are currently engaging CBN others on the $600 million blocked fund, says Lai Mohammed. Ahead of resumption, federal government committed to safe schools, says CDS. Chekarao 2023 parts ways with Arkansas and exits NNPP. 2023 poll, Tinubu remains best choice for Yoruba land, says Southwest APC. FG, NCC extends MAFAB's rollout by 5 months. Strike, ASU to consider federal government's offer at next meeting next week. Okay, which story are we starting with in Vanguard?
So we have, we've been talking about the aviation issues where some companies, some foreign airlines are not able to repatriate their funds back to their country. And Nigeria is owing them about $600 million US dollars that has been trapped here because of the forex issue we are having as a country. So I took it last week in the papers that Emirates was saying that they won't be flying into Nigeria from September 1st because they have a lot of, I think they have about 80 to 85 million US dollars trapped here. British Airways also is considering not using our airways anymore because of their money also. I don't know how, the exact amount that Nigeria is owing British Airways. But
I know a few people that are trapped too.
Yeah.
They can't travel because their ticket was after September. Yeah. So they're having issues coming back because of the
Yes, I even booked a ticket, but they had to cancel. So I'm going to be taking Qatar Airways because Emirates cannot fly in right now. But the federal government is saying that they are currently engaging with relevant stakeholders to ensure that they are able to get out this money. And one of the stakeholders they are talking to is the Central Bank of Nigeria, among others. So I don't know what the conversation is going to be about. Are we going to be printing the dollars to pay them or... Yes, because we really do not have the money right now in foreign currency. So if they are negotiating, is it that they will find a way that we pay them in Naira or something? That was just more the details.
Just in more forex,
the federal government and its agencies are being accused of not doing what it needs to do in tackling the oil theft in Nigeria. This is because a vessel with 3 million barrels of crude oil from Nigeria was intercepted in Equatorial Guinea. 300 million barrels of crude oil from Nigeria. And it passed all the places that it could pass, all the points, the Navy, everything checks, and got to Equatorial Guinea for them to flag it before we heard about it. Anyway, stakeholders are shouting and screaming. A former chairman, Board of Trustees, Society of Petroleum Engineers, says that this has been going on for so long and that the volume of theft that happens from Nigeria would let you know that there are many agencies and the federal government has to be aware one way or the other and really quite nonchalant about fighting this war. Another expert says that a lot of times when we talk about oil theft, many people think it's the few people in the Niger Delta cutting pipes and, fetching some oil. That's not what we're talking about, that the volume of oil theft that happens in our country, is quite massive and that, our federal government needs to do better, agencies need to do better. Anyway, the Navy denies any involvement. They say they do their job and they carry out also a lot of duties. And at the time, when people point them in a direction of something, they go after it, but they are not involved.
But I'm told it's 3 million, not 300 million, just so that we write the right figure. Because 3 million barrels, but that's a lot of barrels.
It's still a lot of barrels.
Okay. Yeah, it is.
All right, another story? 3 million barrels, please.
Any other story in Vanguard? I was going to take the story about, well, there's really not much, nothing has really changed. It's between Governor Wike and the BOT chair, Atiku, the rifts going on. According to the papers, according to a source, Governor Wike jetted out to some country, nobody knows the country he went to, with his team on this matter, because remember, he's still insisting that Senator Ayo steps down as the chairman, and if he doesn't have that, if he doesn't get that, he's not going to obviously participate or support the candidacy of Atiku Abubakar. This is a major issue for PDP. They need to resolve this matter before the election because it's a major stumbling block for them. However, they are saying that Governor Wike himself is not even willing to compromise. And there's a lot of back and forth. Various stakeholders are trying to have meetings with him. But hopefully this meeting that they've jet out to go and have, hopefully they will come to and resolve it. If not, he has been going around to different, I've been seeing him around in different parties, maybe commissioning here, doing this.
He's been politicking.
He's been politicking. So we must be careful. Because, all right, any other story in
Vanguard?
Vanguard?
He knows how to play this politics.
Yes,
No, they're also playing politics.
He's dancing around,
Yes, so
making people have headache and migraine.
giving them high blood pressure.
They're also playing politics with him. They make it seem as if they're trying to settle with him while
They may also have their own plans.
No, we'll have the last dance.
I'm telling you, that's what I say. I was hoping that the election would have happened if I came back. Okay, let's move on to Tribune. Nigerian Tribune. Let's find a story we've not taken. FG introduces rotavirus vaccine to avert over 110,000 children's death. $600 million trapped funds, foreign airlines, home countries uncomfortable, says ministry. Why prescribe IPOB and not Mieti Allah, Shoyinka asks federal government. Water tank falls on house in Lagos, kills 2. Hoodlums disrupt chieftaincy ceremony, Olubano condemns act. Abducted humanitarian worker released after 20 months in Boko Haram's den. 18 suspected kidnappers arrested in Benue. Students call for PPP to fund universities. ARCON changes name, now ARCON. Bans use of foreign models and voice-over artists. Okay. Story.
So the federal government, through the Federal Ministry of Health and the National Primary Healthcare Development Agency, has introduced the rotavirus vaccine as a routine immunization schedule to avert over 110 deaths in children under the age of 5 in the next 10 years. So they said the rotavirus is a highly contagious virus that causes severe diarrhea disease amongst children all over the world, and is most frequent cause of severe diarrhea in children, accounting for about 215,000 deaths of the global 525,000 under 5 mortality attributed to diarrhea diseases each year. And more than 90% of these deaths occur in developing countries, including our country. Now that they have made it a regular vaccine that children can take, this will help to avert most of the deaths we're going to have.
I didn't realize that not all Nigerian children get that, because I remember my children got the rotavirus.
Yes.
But I didn't realize. So that means maybe if you don't get it from private hospitals, many Nigerian kids were not getting it.
We're not getting it. But now that it's open to the primary health care, everybody can have access to it. Well done.
Okay, so the students, 2 students, in fact, Miss Philemon Kojo, she's a clinical student in the University of Abuja, and one Mr. Nwachukwu Clement, who is also a student of the University of Abuja, have talked about how the ASU strike is affecting them. Ms. Kojo says that it's depressing for him. It has tormented her, and it depresses her that the education sector is like this. She then suggested that they should have a PPP, a public-private partnership, to fund universities. She says that they should engage the Ministry of Education, and ASU should engage global monetary agencies to access fundings, or better still, the education sector should be privatized for proper management. That's her suggestion. Mr. Nwachukwu also talked about, the effect of the strike on them, suggesting that they should look for better ways of funding so that we don't continue to have these strikes. Ms. Kojo is a clinical student. She said she's on her 7th year for a 6-year course, and she's still in 500 level. Wow. And so she doesn't, she doesn't think that this is sustainable and it should continue. Mr. Nwachukwu also talked about the effect of the strike on him.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Okay, so from the ashes of banditry and whatever, there's good news. Miss Monret. How can I not know how to pronounce this name? Monret. In fact, I knew a friend, Monret Daspan. She was a social worker that was abducted and had been in captivity for 20 months. She's finally been released, and the governor of Plateau State, who was represented by his deputy, they received her, and they're just so grateful that in the 20 months, we can imagine her emotional, trauma that she must have gone through. A spokesperson for the family also was very grateful. He said that so many people played a role in her final release. They thanked the army and so many other people and people that prayed with them. He said while she was in captivity, there were stories that even suggested that maybe she had been killed, but eventually she reached out to them and told them that she had been taken to Chad Republic. Right. So thankfully, she's back. This is good news.
Let me take this one story. The apex regulatory body of the nation's integrated marketing communications, if you know, advertising practitioners have changed their name to Advertising Regulators Council of Nigeria, and this is because they wanted to a stronger force to be able to regulate better advertising advertising media in our nation. More importantly, they've also banned foreign use of foreign voice-over artists. So when you go and bring this foreign person, good morning. Wake up and take a tea. Don't use foreign voice anymore. We want you to use Nigerian voices or your voiceovers for TV, advertising. They say that the stakeholders have said that they had rest assured that this regulating is not to strangulate. They're just trying to ensure that they're regulating not just the TV, but also the online media, because many of them have actually just taken all these things. They've been very quite unserious in how they've been taking online media. So now it's the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria will better regulate both online and electronic media and even the print media.
We have to determine what the Nigerian sound is.
Yeah.
Because we're influenced by we have to, because we're influenced by many other languages and many other exposures. So
it's debatable, right?
What so what is the Nigerian sound?
The local accent in
but there are plenty.
But there are so many.
We know our
I'm
local
telling you, it's a hot
accent.
topic.
The local accent infused. We don't want fake American accent infused.
What if it's not American infused?
Let's go on a break.
What if it's Sierra Leonean
Maybe it's a hot topic. Let's think about it. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Let's go anyway.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. During the hot topic, we're taking a story about the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria and the fact that they have a new act that is regulating the integrated marketing communications industry. The Director General, Dr. Olalekan Fadolapo, announced the ban also concerning this act, the ban on use of foreign models, foreign voice-over artists, on the nation's advertising space to further enhance inclusive growth within the sector. So they're saying, those of you that like to bring in foreign models to advertise for you, to walk down the aisle and do stuff like that, that's stopped. Also, using foreign voice-over artists is wrong. Then while we're discussing that, Mara made a point that, okay, so what exactly is a Nigerian accent? How do you even determine what is a Nigerian accent? Because a Nigerian can have a fusion of different accents. So how do you, is it even possible to determine Nigerian accent? How do you determine what a voiceover can use? This is what they cannot use. That's the real conversation here. So it sounds nice on paper, but in execution, it's a whole different matter. So that's our conversation today. What are your thoughts on this, on the use of also foreign models? Because if it's your business, it's what attracts buyers that you do. If foreign models attract your buyers, why would anybody stop you from doing that? So that's the conversation. Call us on 081-270-53687. 091-390-7694. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets.
Let me start by saying that if foreign models, I just want to, so I don't forget this point, if foreign models attract your buyers, you are in the wrong country. Yes. Because in their country, your local models don't attract their buyers. So it's about sticking to what originally is ours. Standing with what originally is ours. And I know that when it comes to languages where children are growing up and getting languages, they are built by, first of all, their mother tongue, whatever language is spoken at home. Of course, we have children now who are raised by cartoons, and cartoons will influence how they speak and sound. But basically, let's, for instance, take out the cartoons. We have grandma, grandpa, all those people affect the language of a growing child. And the Nigerian language, we cannot say your English language should sound a particular way because we have different local languages. We have different local languages. But what is natural to you based on your location is what is your Nigerian language.
Okay, let me ask. Let me stay with you for a second.
It's different from Miriam's Nigerian English.
Okay, we'll come to that in a second because I want to go back to what you said. Because there are some products that have a professional look and feel. So, for example, you're talking about advertising a bank, for example. You want to look professional. Who defines what professional is? So it could be somebody can say it's foreign. So for an Englishman, wearing a suit with a tie make you look like a banker. With a Nigerian, rather you wear normal, regular clothes and look decent. So where do we stop? Where do we draw the line? Are we having a foreign definition of professionalism? So that foreign model, you're saying that, okay, man, not attract. But for me, my product is for yellow girls. My product is for girls with long models and with long hair. So why shouldn't I use those models to attract you to buy it? That's what I want to do. Same thing where I'll use a man wearing a suit, which is foreign, to advertise a bank because it's professional. So where do we draw the line? Nima? No, let me not come to you. Let me come to Mariam. Let me come to Mariam. I'll come back to you, Nima.
Okay. See, first of all, I really love that we're beginning to sort of localize our policies. We understand that it shows growth, and I'm all for it. But also in doing that, we need to be careful not to disenfranchise a group of people who are very much Nigerian like everyone else, but they've had different influences. And that is the thing about Nigeria. We're just a group of,
sponges.
We're immersed in different cultures, everything. It's in the Nigerian home that you find a Nigerian that has a child that has grown up that goes to school maybe in the UK, and his brother is in America. One is in China, and they come home and they have different accents. It may sound American to you or British to you here in Nigeria, but when they go abroad, their accent doesn't sound American to those people there. Or does not sound British. They will tell them, you have an accent. So now this Nigerian has come home and has gotten a job on radio. I say, Auntie, Uncle, don't use that accent. It is not a Nigerian accent. So for me, I feel that there's going to be a problem deciding which accent exactly is Nigerian. Nigerian accent is an accent of a Nigerian. Simple.
How do we define it, though?
So that's what I'm saying. The Nigerian is speaking, that is your accent. That is the Nigerian accent. Unless you're saying that the person is not pronouncing the words right. If you're saying that people on air should only speak appropriately, pronounce your words right, I can understand that. But to say that the person has to have a Nigerian accent, I think they're going to have a major problem, showing that. Now, when we are talking about models, I have a problem, actually. Especially, there's a particular store that I shop for my children's clothing. And in that store, they use only white children. And I've always wondered that I'm coming here and spending my Naira for my...
In Nigeria?
Yes, in Nigeria. Spending my Naira in this shop.
It's a white
my Nigerian children. Why can't I see a reflection of my kind of children on your walls?
Yeah.
And even me, I even went ahead to say, I would like to speak to the manager here. Why are there no Nigerian? Yes, why are there no Nigerian-looking children on your wall? The person I was speaking to could not do anything. He was like, I don't know. Me too.
It's a white
I'm giving, it's just a job for the person. In that one, I feel in that way, a Nigerian can be determined by how they look. The color of our skin is either dark skin, different shades of it, our type of hair, and things like that. You can say, but with that accent, I think we're going to have
let me take what Mariam said. Now, let's put it in another perspective. So you have a child, right? And maybe a child left Nigeria, schooled in America for quite a number of years, moved back home, gets a radio job, and then somebody says, please come and do voiceover for my product, right? And then he sounds American. Now, do you think what this new act is saying, that a Nigerian child should not sound American, or we shouldn't hire a foreigner? I mean, what do you think? What would you think is more appropriate? Is it okay for a Nigerian child to sound American? Because I think you're Nigerian at least. You're still enhancing local talent. You're not going to go buy a foreign accent to run your product. What do you think?
People, they buy you.
So this is what I think. No Chinese stays in the UK and loses his Chinese accent.
They do.
But then wait,
I've not seen.
I'm not saying the one they born, no. I'm saying the one who visits. Not the Indians. Even the ones here, we at one of these ice cream shops the other day, myself and my kids, and a couple of Indian kids were having gist in English. And it took me listening with 6 digits, 6 cents to understand what they were saying. These were people loudly talking. They come with their accents. They're not begging anybody or apologizing. So even if a Nigerian child is coming from abroad, you're supposed to speak in Nigeria in a way an average Nigerian,
would understand.
educated enough, walking on the street can understand without having to. And I used to turn off radio stations before the Pidgin radio started, just because some people go, I cannot be bothered. Because me, I am a Nigerian, and I cannot use iron sponge to clean my teeth just because I want to understand you. You should speak normal. I call it normal. It means that the area you grew up in, just as BC said earlier,
It's reflected.
it's reflective in your way the way you speak.
Yeah.
And it bothers me that some parents put on the TV and put it on a particular channel, I will not mention, so that the kids growing up must sound that way.
Yeah.
They said it's called to sound international best standard. I'll be like, who determines? Because what is foreign is clear. But what is international is not clear. What is international is something that must appeal across board. And it doesn't have to be a particular colonial way for it to be international.
You know what's interesting, though? Many of our Nigerians who live abroad speak normal.
Yes.
When they not comment, once they enter Murtala, like they now wear on that
Because it is a status thing.
No, it is.
I'm just saying, because it is a status thing. You want to let people know you just gave.
I just got back.
You just got back. We still got them.
want to
I
distinguish
just
yourself.
came back. I just came. There's a slang, my friend.
Just came back.
I just came back. I want to hear. You know, because you need to make it. You know, I just went. I just came. You know what it is to travel. It's not like that.
Okay, let's
You
come back to
can
the
go
act.
on a vacation.
But
Sounds.
yeah.
Talk
Okay,
normal.
well, let's come
You
back to
just
the act
listen.
because these are important things. These are issues of business owners. A business owner is saying, for me to sell this product, I must sell to my target market. You're not my target market, Nima. My target market is the blonde Nigerian girl that looks white. Still, we'll be right back.
As I look more.
Let's go to
I have
break.
target market.
Yes.
And you're here.
Now you're here.
You know that many number.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing this matter. So I was saying before the break that the Advertising Regulatory Council of Nigeria has said that they're banning foreign voiceovers and foreign models to be now in our advertising. We're now trying to discuss how do you determine physically or audibly which one is foreign and which one is local, because the Nigerians live abroad and school abroad and can still speak foreign.
So when you hear foreign, something that's foreign to what you're used to. We went to schools and we schooled with different people from different tribes.
Yeah.
In one class, you have somebody from Edo, someone from Hausa, someone from Igbo, Yoruba, Ibibio, and all that. We have that. So we know what is original to our terrain. When you hear something that is foreign, you will know that this does not belong to us. Nobody needs to tell you. I've never seen a Nigerian who went to China or India or one of these Asian countries and come back with their accent. No.
Thank you.
They only maintain
Colonial.
either American or British accents as a form of a status symbol.
I'm
It's a
closer to
status
the
symbol,
queen.
and that is what this regulatory body is trying to break. We don't need all of that anymore. We need to find our originality. When you are acting movies in Hollywood and they want to play a Nigerian role, they get somebody who can mimic the Nigerian accent. They recognize that we have an accent. Why can't we recognize our own indigenous accent infused in English? My father was taught by a British man as his English teacher. My father does not speak with a British accent. He speaks with a Nigerian accent, but he gets his words correctly. That should be the focus. That you articulate.
Interestingly,
Mariah, hold on, please. That you articulate the language properly as best as you can. Some people have more trouble doing that because of the mother tongue interference, and that is okay. We laugh at those people who have those mother tongue interference as if they do not have content just because they are not sounding a particular way. But not getting those words. Amora, you have been cutting me. Let me finish my point before I forget.
I want to take a swipe. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I've traveled to some African countries, and immediately I spoke. They knew I was different from them.
You were from Nigeria.
And they knew I was from Nigeria. When they speak, I know this person has a Kenyan accent. This person has a South African accent. And with time, most of them are now having their own, their accent is now recognized as the accent right for that particular country. We can begin to find our originality in recognizing what sounds local to us, infusing the English language.
Let me take this call from Ali. Good morning, Ali. Are you there? Hello, Ali. Are you there? Good morning.
Yeah, how are you doing?
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good. I think it's a good development if they are going to actually actualize this. Why? Because if you check Sudan, the colors of their leaves, they are very dark. And you see, internationally, they don't use white for their adverts. The ladies in Sudan. Now, Alima talked about Chinese, the Indians, even the Lebanese. No matter anywhere they travel to, their tongue remains the same. It remains the same thing. So me, I don't think it is even white. Even in Port Harcourt, you find ladies that are like African. Are you with me?
Yes,
yeah.
If you go to Starford, go to Edo State, you see ladies that are like Africans that you can use for adverts. You don't need to travel out, import anybody into the country. That's what I think. Even if you go to, you don't need to travel anywhere to look. Ghana, check the advert.
Let me. I get your point, Ali. Thank you very much for that. You see, I was going to take a swipe at a station because I remember that when this station started, they started with all these grammar. There was a breakfast show, and they brought in a bunch of foreign Nigerians that lived schooled abroad, and they started speaking foreign English, and attracted a crowd. It attracted a certain class of Nigerians. Started watching this station because of this new crop of Nigerians, because they felt very professional, you know. But eventually, when all the dust are now finally settled, they're not talking like us. Okay. They're not talking like us. I think it's what happened to all the experience people were speaking in the beginning? What happened?
Okay,
pressure.
So let me say this. The conversation we're having here is not that we do not have accents. Yes. Or that we're pushing away our accents. We're saying what is the acceptable accent for these jobs that we're talking about, the advertisers regulatory body is talking about. What would they determine is the original accent if the person is Nigerian? That is what we're speaking here. And, you know, there's something that you said, BC, and was reiterated by Nima, which is it should be, the accent should reflect your location. If I am a Nigerian, that somehow, maybe in my teens, went abroad to school, and I'm back in my country, and I'm influenced by the location I was in, why should it be a problem that my English accent or my accent sounds different from yours, that your influence as an Edo person that lives in Yoruba land, you have a Yoruba Edo accent. Yeah. But I do not, I have no grouse about that because I understand that your location is influencing your accent. And it's fine. Question. My own location, you know, this person's location is affecting that person's accent. But that person is not less Nigerian, or accent is not less Nigerian than one.
Which accent you get?
It doesn't. Fantastic. I'm going on. That's on one side.
Let me ask for I want you to respond to that. That's an important question.
Okay, so the second part of it, you talked about this channel that they had people that were speaking a certain accent. What happens is, I've noticed a lot of people, when you find yourself in another location, whether you like it or not, over time, you pick up the next accent. It further influences your accent. Your accent is one thing with accent is one thing with accent is that it is not linear. It is not stationary. It keeps moving. You find some people when they're abroad, there's a way that they sound. because they are influenced by those around them.
choose
And
to-
people
they
will even
choose
say,
their
oh, you have a
choice,
Nigerian...
Miriam.
See, you have a Nigerian accent. But when that same person comes to Nigeria, the other accent is the one that is foreign or new to you. And
Okay,
you're like, oh,
point.
you have an American accent. But it
Point
does
taken.
not remove the fact that you're a Nigerian with a Nigerian accent, influenced by the locations
When
that
you
you
come
have.
back,
Let me
let's
pause
not-
you.
let's
I have to
not
pause you for a
deliberately
second. Henry's been
confuse.
holding for a while. Let me pause you. I'll let you. Good morning, Henry. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Well, it's unfortunate that most regulatory bodies in Nigeria don't understand the new landscape, the new advertising landscape. ARCON cannot really. I'm someone who plays within the digital space, and right now, ARCON cannot control or regulate what they are saying they want to do. You know, there are online tools that all you just need to do is just type in a text, and it just creates a voiceover in any accent in the world, and it's going global. So it's so funny that they just wake up from the boardrooms of their regulatory agencies and start creating laws that they can't even monitor. There was a time some airports in Nigeria said that cab hailing services cannot come into the airport. And I was wondering, how are you going to regulate that? Because these car hailing companies are not even painted. So it's so funny. There are thousands and millions of advertising materials going across. So what resources, what capacity does ARCON have to regulate all of this? So it's so funny.
Yeah. I mean, that's the serious part of it. We're having the fun part of the conversation. So, yeah, you're right. We can actually unpack it and ask, okay, what laws, how do they plan to regulate this? Yeah, that's a good, valid question. We're looking at it on the other part of it. I want you to respond.
So I wanted to quickly respond. On the first issue, it is about choice.
Yeah.
As an adult growing up, you choose where you want to be. You choose to learn an accent when
Yes.
you move to a locality.
Yes.
Accent don't fall on you. It's not rain.
You choose them.
You choose it. Yeah. You go to school and you think, oh no, they don't get to understand me anymore. You want to sound
like
enough for them to understand. You learn how they sound so that they can understand you. Then when you come home, you say,
Please
no,
unlearn it.
because you are here now, you can't quickly drop what you have learned. You can unlearn it. Yeah. See, it is a choice. I have a co-wife, Midia's co-wife, who is American. Whenever I talk to her, I talk like this. She talks how she talks. Whether we hear ourselves, I really don't care because the truth is, as much as I'm expected to try, that's how much she's supposed to try to hear me. And if we're not both trying at the same time, nobody's apologetic.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't drop myself.
Let me give an example of what you just said. My brother, let me give an example of what you just said. My brother left Nigeria in 1984. If he talks to you right now, he talks like it. And this is someone that went to Ireland, the school in Scotland, married to an Italian Nigerian who was born and raised in Italy. His company is in Chinatown, like for like 20 years now. He has a whole company there. This is a guy that, trust me, he has been around.
Yeah.
When you talk to him, he's talking like a Nigerian.
What's he
Maybe when he gets
at
upset,
Liberia?
you can hear a view or small influence here and there.
you're not getting upset already on TV.
On his regular,
Please,
he
I
speaks
need
like
to
a normal person,
finish
like
what
a
I'm
gentleman.
saying. So when you are now on a particular set and you are seeing that you're not selling to the audience because you're using a foreign accent and the larger market don't seem to... You don't say you are switching. It's still a choice.
What if your target market is
So,
not
Morayo,
the
the
larger
point
audience?
itself, if you are in Nigeria, your target is 200
Let me
million
give you another
Nigerians.
example, Nima.
See, Morayo, let's not
Nima,
deceive ourselves.
there's a world
If
of
you are in Nigeria, your target is 200 million Nigerians. What you are trying to tell the Nigerian, you are saying, no, you're not targeting the elites who get to travel. You're targeting the 200 million
No, you can't.
people.
You can't.
Morayo, it
You can't
depends
say
on
that
your
for a company
product.
person,
Wait
yeah.
now.
The people who are
I don't want to
traveling
mention
can buy from
product.
somebody
Get one
else now.
product that all of us we are using. It's not for some select few that they speak on the adverts. Excuse me, is it the or the product you're selling?
Let me
because
pause
wait,
you. Let me give
just
you
a
an
minute.
example. Wait, Nima, wait, calm
Take
down. Calm
it
down.
down,
You made your
Johnny.
point. You made your point.
I'm not landing.
You made your
I've not
point.
made any point.
You made
No
your
point
point.
have I landed.
Nima. So let us start. Let's go back to that station.
Yeah.
If that station had started with a Nigerian accent station, do you think they would get the kind of grounds of good things? They would
How
still
did you
this
start?
Auntie, calm down. Wait, calm
Leave
down.
that station.
Calm down.
Wait.
If that station, that program,
And
forget
you
the station for a second. That program that we're talking about.
Yes.
If they had started talking like us in the beginning, do you think the market, the cloud they got, as quick as... You know how long it took your views to get to this point? You know how many years? They are
I was on your view just a
9
year.
years.
Wait.
These guys, within 1 year, the whole of the creme de la creme...
That you think so?
They're already watching the program.
No. Somebody put in water.
social media
it's different where you wet. The grass is green where you wet grass.
Let's go on a break.
The grass is green where you wet it.
Nima has not landed.
Let me go.
I never landed
Come
in
flying. I don't.
We'll be right back.
They do it.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm told Mazino from Wake Up Nigeria is on the phone because he's a voiceover artist. Hello, Mazino. Are you there?
Hello, hi, Mo.
Yes, thanks for joining us. Go ahead, please.
The accent.
Don't mind the accent. This is how I talk real life. In any case, regarding this situation, first off, it is a local development that the focus should be changed and we should focus on local content. That's the body needs to do much more because the level of expertise that goes on.
Oh, Mazino, we can't hear you. The line is breaking out.
I'd really love to
Breaking.
Oh dear, can
Go
you hear
ahead.
me?
Yeah, try it. Go ahead.
Okay, I was talking about the fact of outcome development.
Okay.
However, the body needs much more because there's a certain level of expectation on inside the industry is not mentioned, and no one exactly knows who is supposed to tackle.
We'll have to call you back. It's muffled. I have to get your point. We'll call you back, Zino. Yes, you're flying. You're not about to land. Let me let you land.
So, my point is that, when you're trying to appeal to a certain people, 200 million Nigerians, common Nigerians, there's no point trying to, first of all, try an accent that is strange to them and then say later that you need to appeal to them and then you're unlearning what you've started. This is the point, exactly. If the larger number of people cannot understand you the first time, why did you have to make that mistake? So there's a standard that, okay, when you come to a new place, this is how they speak there. Among West African countries, Nigerians are the most, I would say Lagos, for instance, where I grew up, have a larger population of different kinds of Nigerians. I know when a Liberian is speaking, if I'm with one, there's a deep level of their accent under their English that cannot be dropped no matter how schooled. A Sierra Leonean beside me, I can easily spot them when they speak the same English. So that's a point exactly. And I should not make them feel sorry that, that accent that their mother tongue has, the one that cannot be washed out, that they should be apologetic about it. This mentality of, what is international, that you make everybody suffer painfully for what is genetically their tongue, is annoying for me. And so I believe that this regulation is more than welcome. I cannot understand it. That's just because somebody can easily learn how to sound like the queen, that person is better and has two heads than another person.
So my problem with, your point of view, your perspective is that we may be creating stereotypes. I want us to recognize that whether we see it or not, there's something that BC likes to use, our worldview. Your worldview is different from someone's worldview, and you still live in the same world. Do you understand? And so it shows some form of, maturity when you recognize that there are differences that I haven't seen that person's own yet does not make that person's worldview untrue or not valid. I want to use this Chimamanda's TED Talk title to further just reiterate my point, where she talked about the danger of a single story. She says that what happens with a single story is that we stereotype people. And that the problem with stereotyping is not that it is untrue, it's just that that it's an incomplete story. So you're here, you're so sure of what a Nigerian accent sounds like. And yet there's a Nigerian saying, here, yes, you may hear an American accent, or you may hear a British accent, but this is how I speak. I am Nigerian. My father is Yoruba, my mother is Igbo. I happen to have grown up in these countries. Is it also, it brings the question is it more disapproving if it's a British and American accent? What if I came with a Liberian accent? Would you still have the same resentment towards it? Is there a resentment that is specifically because it's American and British? That's another one. Now, thirdly, Thirdly, whether we like it or not, there are times and seasons. There was a time we loved to hear American R&B and American rap. Today, the season is Afrobeat, wherever we are in the world. To the point that I was listening to Chris Brown's latest album. There's a song there I was wondering, he was speaking in our own Afrobeat accent. I was wondering, you know, what is he saying? Because there are times and seasons, and markets will want to appeal to the times and seasons. That is why you have international stars who want to get an Afrobeat star on their you know, whatever. So that is why
Mariam is actually supporting what Nima said in a different way. I'll come to that. Let me take Mazino's back. I'll explain to you why I think so. Mazino, are you there?
Yes, I am.
You're back. Fantastic. Now we can hear you better. Go ahead, please.
Fantastic. Okay, so first off, I appreciate the views of all the ladies there. Totally agree with you guys. However, regarding the body that is making this clear that you have to use Nigerian or indigenous voices, there is much more that they need to do. Thank you very much for first of all pointing out the fact we have to use Nigerian for these adverts and all. But then there is a certain level of exploitation that goes on inside of the industry that also needs to be addressed, that they're not addressing. Voice-over artistry is something that you can make local content from inside of your house. But agencies actually exploit these individuals in such a manner that you cannot explain. And it's very unfortunate. There is a Nigerian body set aside for this, the Voice-over Association of Nigeria. What are they doing in this respect? Make sure that voice-over artists who are being brought to the limelight now get paid their due. Sometimes you get owed like years for work that you've done 2 years ago. Nobody's paying. And once you come out and say, hey, I need my money, you're blacklisted.
This is an issue that not just for voiceover artists, it's happened even for agencies working with media houses like us. Because I know that I've experienced it with media houses, but it's an interesting point that we need to address. But let me come to what I was saying earlier.
You were saying that you thought I was...
The truth is, there's this subconscious neo-colonial mentality we all have, that foreign is better. That's the truth. We've all had it. And I mean, we can say many countries that were colonized by the British had that. But at some point, what I hear Nima say is that even if you are neo-colonized, you're subconsciously colonized, and you go abroad, if you have that identity of you being an African, even though you are indeed influenced, because you know who you are, regardless of that, you are still able to flourish as a Nigerian, which is what Fela did. Fela retained who he was, even when he went abroad. Many people are, well, King Sunny Ade is well-traveled, but he still retained that Fuji. When we were growing up, Fuji wasn't cool. But now it's cool because now it's like Afrobeat, as I said, it's cool. So now even Nigerians, someone was telling me when I traveled that, in the past, she had a friend that didn't want to associate with Nigerians because it just felt so cool to live in the white neighborhood. Okay. But now this is the scene of Afrobeat. Now she's not playing Afrobeat. She's telling her white friends that, oh, I'm Nigerian. Now she's claiming Nigerian. She's like, you're claiming Nigerian. Because now it's getting cool to be African, to be Nigerian. So why didn't we retain that coolness years back when we were traveling abroad, when you're getting influence? So if you had the identity of who you are, regardless of how you feel, you would have retained who you are,
yes. So Mariah,
even if you come to
Mariah,
yes.
Okay. They were able to find it cool now because some people sacrificed. That retaining is the sacrifice, and insisted that this is who I am. The world has to accept me or leave it. And after a while, people now start paying attention. We always talk about international best practice, international best standard. This is what Nigeria is trying to do now. In this country, this is our international best practice. No, hold on. Yes, now that's what I'm saying. Now we will give the world standard. We're tired of collecting standard from them. We're tired of collecting their standard. Nigeria is now saying, in this terrain, this is the accent that we want. Exactly. Every other person who, whether you schooled abroad, you schooled here, you want to work here, you will find a way to adjust to the accent that is acceptable. That's one. A lot of people have been disenfranchised and lost jobs, not because they didn't have content, but because they did not sound the way the people wanted to hear them sound. Nigeria now, especially in this industry, they are beginning to change it. That for you to come, this is our accent and this is what is expected.
Okay, let me take this call.
Do the job and learn it.
Okay, let me take this call. From Shola. Then we'll come to you, Mariam. Good morning, are you there, Shola? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm there.
Yeah,
Good
Shola.
morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah. Honestly, I 1,000% agree with Nima and the last speaker this morning, I 1,000% agree with you. You see, it's quite unfortunate in this part of the country, many of us portray what we are not. Honestly, and this is to say, I don't want to say it on air. Morayo, please, I need your contact. I've been searching for it for the past days, and I contacted one of your members, and she got me annoyed this morning. I don't want to say it on air. Please.
You better have $1 million to give to me. That's what I'm looking for right now.
So I was going to respond to the fact that Afrobeats is Nigerian, originated from Nigeria, and many of the proponents of Afrobeats or the stars are Nigerian-based, Nigerian-grown. We're happy about that. There used to be a time that reggae was the in thing, was from those who have lived in Jamaica and what. It's okay. What I'm saying is, in pushing this regulation, be careful not to disenfranchise Nigerians who, through no fault of theirs, have an accent that is influenced by their location.
They will learn.
So, you mentioned the fact that some people had been disenfranchised because of their own accent affected by their location here in Nigeria. And for me, when we want to see growth and development, it is not to do back what someone has done to us, but to learn from what had been done before and make sure that we, in the new path going forward, we don't make the same mistake. Yeah. We have abroad, America is dealing with, different types of racism and things like that. Because I think they even did one, they did a test where people will just see the way someone looks and say, oh, I don't understand what they're saying. They'll switch, and they now realize that it's just because of the way someone looks. I just don't want the fact that in Nigerian, that through no fault of theirs, and just because of life, have gotten an accent, which does not stop them from being Nigerian, or does not stop their Nigerian accent, but it's just influenced by it, denied some opportunities because they do not sound like the stereotypical Nigerian. I think we need to be careful.
Let them learn. Let them come down and learn.
That is a very valid point.
I understand.
Because there are two issues. There are two Nigerians. There's one Nigerian who lived here and schooled abroad. That one was saying that you choose, it's your choice to take up the accent. But there's one that was born and raised abroad. That person should be disenfranchised, just like she said. So there are two different.
But if the objective is to appeal to the Nigerian market, can you go and learn?
Yes, you will learn it.
You go learn now. Because if we cross this country abroad, we will learn. If we were to work in one of these international stations abroad, you will have to learn to sound the way they would understand. And then we are meant to write an exam, ordinarily to go to school. We don't speak English, me that I know WAEC in this country and passed. I have to write an exam to be able to do a degree or a master's abroad. And you're telling me that somebody does not have to learn to appeal to Nigerian market. Okay. There's a point here. Point taken. I understand the discrimination. Very strong point that you have made on this issue of the discrimination. But we know how deep this thing cuts. We know we cannot just farm it. It's not a small matter at all.
Let me take this call. Mike has been calling from Wales. Good morning, Mike. Are you there?
Yeah, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
I don't know which accent to use now. Maybe I should use Indian accent or Chinese. Good morning, ladies. I think the problem is not because maybe they want to use an accent or not. I think I will always stand by Nima with what Nima is saying. Sometimes if you tune to Nigerian radio station, you don't even know where you belong. You keep asking yourself, when did I get a visa to travel out of the country? Whereas you are still in Nigeria. And accents cannot really be defined. Morayo, you just returned from the United Kingdom. And in the United Kingdom, there was a time one of the politicians once said, there should be a British standard and a British accent. And people asking, what is the British accent? Because the way someone from Central London speaks is different from the way someone from North London speaks. Now, the way someone from Scotland speaks is different from the way a Welshman speaks. Now, if you come to Wales, which one is the Welsh accent? Is it the one from Cardiff or the one from West Wales? Now, it depends on where you're from. There might be one or two influences which is allowed, but it really doesn't need to change the standard, because anyone from the United Kingdom, when they speak, you know that this person is a British.
Right.
And that is what I think the ARCON is trying to say or to thanks.
Right. Thank you, Mike. So I'll come to you.
I wanted to land this point. So English, the way it's spoken in England, evolved. Just as he said, from the different kinds of English, they had to find the Queen's standard. We as Nigerians, nobody is giving us a way to even find our standard first. Somebody is now telling us what is international standard when we don't even have a Nigerian standard yet. Let's have a Nigerian standard. Let that standard compete with other standards before you talk about what an international standard is. We have continued to stop it from every place, from class, from status, from everything, frustrates that standard from evolving at all. A child will come out, maybe the child went for summer and came back, and is in a Nigerian university, but because the lecturer has an Oshun-toned English, he hisses and tunes off class and doesn't learn anything. There's a problem here, and we must deal with that problem. That in itself is discrimination.
But you see, during the break, you said something which I think was vital. You mentioned an actress's name. I won't mention it on TV. Where she just got back, she had this full-blown British accent. But now, many years fast forwarded, she has calmed down. She realized that to appeal to, just like you said, if you're going to come into the Nigerian media sector, you must be able to you must be willing to either tone down or learn a few words to be able to appeal to your market. So that
your market can be begging you.
No matter what country you go to, at some point you take some kind of examination to enter that mainstream media. Same thing in this situation. Where
so these are countries now setting their standards, and I'm glad that Nigeria has gotten into that space. As a sovereign nation, you can decide what is obtainable in your country. I travel outside the country. I've never heard any of their adverts with a Nigerian accent. And though they have Nigerians there who are buying those products, who buy and pay cash, they don't even have money to buy. We buy and pay cash, and yet they will not speak the one we will understand.
But there's some Nigerian products that are being sold with Nigerian accent.
I'm telling you about the countries and their mainstream. So we need to find ways to adjust. Over the years, some people have mastered the act of speaking different accents. However you find yourself, you just blend in. Those people who school there, when they come to, find a way to blend in. Let us know ultimately that there's something called a Nigerian accent. There's something called people who have been colonized and they're able to speak with their mother tongue interferences, and it's okay. There's something called not laughing that somebody is not speaking the way you thought it's supposed to be, and they are sounding a certain way, and you laugh at them and disenfranchise them from that job. I also agree with Miriam that we should do it in such a way that we don't disenfranchise those other people. But if they understand that this is the terrain, everybody will find a way. We all see. Knowledge is about learning. Your ability to learn shows that you are evolving. Your ability to unlearn what you have learned before shows that you are evolving. Your ability to relearn and work with what's best also shows that you are evolving. Let's all go.
So if my father's, in conclusion, my father spent $50,000 to send me to school in the US, UK. I work hard and I now get a degree. I come back home with a nice accent that sets me apart. What you're saying is that thank God you have fantastic education. Great. When if you're coming into our country, you must understand that the market is different, the terrain is different, and the accent is no longer your identity. The accent, what you need to do is understand the Nigerian way of speaking so you can appeal to the larger crowd. So we are starting sell your market. We must have the Nigerian standard.
Yes.
And because right now, thank God, I think it's time for us to seize this opportunity because Africa is now, everybody is looking to Africa.
Yeah.
It's time for us
so in conclusion, for me, what I don't want is to say, oh, the pidgin English is our own English. Because pidgin English is broken
African
English. Sis, it's broken English, almost like the English of those who are not educated. We speak
phonics.
We have our, even in our own languages, there's just, there's a way that we carry ourselves with pride and whatever. So English is a different language. There's a way that it should be spoken. There's a way it should be pronounced. We should take that into consideration. But I don't like it to say that, oh, the pidgin English is our own identity because it's the broken form of somebody's language if we are going forward.
The broken form of the British
English. Don't go far.
I just don't think so.
It is our history. Pidgin English is part of our history.
It's colonial history
At some point, we were made to speak a certain language we forced ourselves to develop a version of. Pidgin English is a language.
It is.
Like it or not.
Yes.
People from my area that cannot write English.
So that's our international best practice.
That's
our
nobody
Nigerian
said
best
that.
practice. That's what I'm saying. Are we saying the Pidgin English is our Nigerian best practice?
We have to wrap up.
give that law.
The
Let's wait
Pidgin
for our
English is
lawmakers.
not our Nigerian best
I can't hear
practice.
anybody anymore.
Sorry, Morai, African.
We have to wrap up.
African, the one
Afrikaans.
with
We
the
have to wrap
cans.
up.
It's a language developed from...
And the pronunciation Afrikaans.
We
You
can
need to get the
take on
pronunciation
this
right.
segment, ladies of Yoruba. What happened?
We have missed you, darling.
2 weeks and you guys don't get
And you
around
came
to
back and you set the table on fire.
Ah, please don't calm down. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll talk about mosquitoes. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Mosquitoes.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So it's Tuesday. We got to touch on something healthy. So Saturday, 20th of August, was National Mosquito Day. You ever even know it existed? The theme for this year's commemoration is No Mosquito, No Malaria. Now, joining us on the show is the National President, Pest Control Association of Nigeria, PCO, Mr. Olalekan Williams. He'll be discussing the importance of eradicating mosquitoes from our environment. Good morning, sir. Are you there?
Yeah, good morning, Morayo.
Good to have you on the show. So,
Yeah.
how do we eradicate mosquitoes? I know malaria is still an ongoing issue in Africa where we're trying to eradicate malaria completely. But we can't do that without getting rid of mosquitoes. And I know that part of the pest control initiative is to put chemicals in the air to kill mosquitoes. Now, and I have an environmental enthusiast next to me.
Yes.
She's thinking, okay, how do we eradicate without polluting the air in our country?
Thank you very much, Mariah. Yes, malaria or mosquito elimination would be approached, through so many ways. And then one of the ones we are advocating as an association is integrated vector management, which encompasses other kinds of applications apart from chemicals. Just like you said, but we know WHO has approved what you call lateral source management. Lateral source management means that all the sources of the mosquito breeding sites should be taken into consideration. And by that, we mean that drainages and stagnant water or all receptacles around the house should be gotten cleared. Most importantly, the drainages. And of course, on Saturday was the World Mosquito Day, which was celebrated simultaneously in Lagos and Abuja by the association, whereby we went out into some communities to sensitize and create awareness, and also show them how to make their environment a mosquito-free one by clearing their drainages and at the right time, and also taking away any receptacle, any container that could
Right.
Cause the breeding
Okay.
of mosquitoes.
Okay, so for me, I see that with Nigeria, Africa in general, we're still struggling with this mosquito problem. Do you know what this? I know that you've just mentioned some things. We've heard them since we were in primary school, clear your drainages. But what can we do, maybe at government level, that would give us the success that other countries that have gotten, that have recorded successes in this way? What are the things that they have done that we can learn to do individually, as a community, and as a government?
Okay, thank you very much for that question. That's a very interesting one. We want to use this opportunity to congratulate the President, our President Muhammadu Buhari, on the inauguration of the End Malaria Council, which was inaugurated about a week ago. And I'm talking about maybe new innovations in tackling this menace. You could see now that the private sector, which we represent as well, is being brought to bear. The council is chaired by Alhaji Aliko Dangote, who also happens to be a malaria vector partner of the association. And I think this is the right step to go, whereby you're now bringing in resources from the private sector and harnessing and all stakeholders in the industry or in the area of tackling malaria and controlling mosquitoes. And this is a good development in the country, and I believe that with the partnership, especially in issues concerning the environment, and also this also reminds us of the intervention by the Ministry of Environment. There was a press briefing yesterday on on mosquito by the Honorable Minister of Environment, and we hope that with this new developments, we'll get a lot of success in the fight against malaria.
Okay, sir. So in this talk of eradicating mosquito, I know we've had this issue since I was very young. I've been hearing mosquito, something has to be done, the government doing something about mosquito. Malaria. Is there any, malaria and mosquito, all of them together. Is there any way that the conversation is tilting towards probably getting vaccines that would help, especially young children, you know, so that they don't die as much as they do? Because the rural areas are the ones that suffer most especially, and we are endemic to these mosquitoes in this country. It may take us a longer time if we keep, you know, going by all these our programs and projects. Any conversation on vaccines?
Absolutely. WHO has developed a vaccine for malaria and has approved, rather, a vaccine for malaria. And the trials are being done in some parts of Africa, including Ghana. And those trials have just been concluded, and it was quite successful. So I think gradually the WHO would first of all start with the trial countries in distributing these vaccines, and then maybe much later go to some other other countries like Nigeria. But definitely there's been a successful trial of the vaccine for malaria.
All right, let me go ahead.
So let's talk about what you're doing to bring this to the grassroots, because every time when we hear, you know, mosquito, no malaria day, we hear it from, you know, bodies like your own. People talk about it, but when I drive out of here now into Abuja market, the women are still, you know, leaving stagnant water open and all of that. It's almost like the information is for the people who know better, and they're not reaching the people who need the information the most. So what exactly are you doing on this day to take the awareness into the corner, the grassroots?
Okay, thank you very much. Earlier on, I referred to what we had on the 20th of August, the Pest Control Association of Nigeria, in partnership with the Rotary Club of Nigeria and the Environmental Health Officers Registration Council, ARCON, went in Lagos. We were in Ikate, in the Ikate suburb of Surulere, where you have a very high endemic state of malaria because of the drainages. And we were there to help them to clear the drainages. And also our members were there to help in evacuating, and not just clearing the drainages and the canal. We had a compactor that was donated by a member, and which we used in cutting away some of this refuse. And of course, we used this opportunity to reach out to the refuse disposal agencies to also support these communities. We also, Rotary also donated mosquito nets, and we also made them aware of what they can do on their own apart from government, in support of government, in making sure that the environment is sanitized.
Let me ask you this
will
question,
reduce the breeding points of mosquitoes.
As the president of pest control of Nigeria, and the pest is beyond just mosquitoes. We have rodents, we have all sorts of other animals, bugs that could be infectious to Nigerians. As the president of this association, what would you advise? Yes, we have heard of the using mosquito nets. We've had the don't get rid of stagnant water. The issue of rodents, especially, we've heard of Lassa fever being caused by this, the rodents we have, or the trash and all that. I want you to speak to domestically now, like in the homes. What can we do? Because people we want to use the sprays. They tell you, it's not healthy for children.
It's choky.
You're asthmatic. Yeah. So what can we do? How often should we fumigate? How do we know when we need? I mean, are roaches a problem? Are they part of the house? The wall geckos, are they bad for you? You know, we have superstition. There's so many issues. I want you to bring the conversation to domestic, everyday happenings. How do we get rid of rodents? How do we manage the wall geckos? Do we need to leave them to eat the insects, or we have to kill them like many Nigerians do? Or how do we, use the, what do they call that thing? Insecticides. Thank you. How best do we do this?
Okay, thank you very much. The innovation in pest management has a lot to do with sanitation, and we call it integrated pest management. It's IPM. IPM has included on cleaning, waste disposal, and apart from chemical approaches. So chemical approaches are always the last resort. If your environment is very clean and you dispose your refuse at the right time, you cover your garbage cans, and you remove food sources. Most of these vector pests would not come, because basically what they come in to do is to try and survive and feed on whatever you have around. You remove the water sources, you remove food sources, your dustbins should be covered. Chemical approaches are always the last resort. If there's an infestation of any, in case of rats, of course, you know, most of these vectors they're carriers of diseases. You have rodents, you have cockroaches, you have mosquitoes, you have flies. And what we advise people is that when you have to seek the services of professionals, you need to make sure that you're not bringing in quacks into your homes, whereby you can get endangered. So please patronize accredited and licensed pest control consultants.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. I think it was a pleasure having you on the show. We appreciate the No Mosquito, No Malaria celebration that will happen, I think, on the 20th of August to commemorate Mosquito Day. We never actually knew existed. But thank you very much, sir, for joining us on the show this morning. It was a pleasure having you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, no mosquito. Do you have any comments on social media we'd like to take? Before we wrap up the show, we have a few minutes left.
Yeah, some people are saying that we're still talking about mosquito in 2022. Another person said that there's mosquito in Texas. It's just that he doesn't feel those type of mosquitoes, they give malaria. So I don't know. But I think it's we need to do more than just the talk. I'm more worried about people who are in places where they can't even access even the mosquito nets. Those rural areas, people who stay on water, those are the real areas where
I think the
children die of malaria regularly. And we need to capture those people more.
I think those people actually have a lot of mosquito nets. They've tried a lot of all these international organizations actually going to give quite a number of these things. But the more the merrier.
Yeah, so in 2022, what I would really like to hear when we're talking about malaria and mosquitoes is just find new, innovative, environmentally friendly ways that we can do this. We can't keep talking about mosquito nets and mosquito. I just feel that there has to be something we can do. When you mention vaccines, that has to be the way forward. The way forward.
What of just cleanliness? Just us being clean. Like just wake up in the morning, close your trash, tie it up, put it in the big trash outside. You know, people just leave their trash up and they just empty it in the dustbin and leave it open. Of course, flies and all sort of vectors will come on. So there are ways of managing your trash.
It is to personally enforce cleanliness in the house if you live with others. So I think that the public enforcement we had growing up, where you could not have stagnant water around, gutters were compulsorily, sanitation days were compulsorily cleaned. Thursdays markets were compulsorily cleaned. Those enforcements are no longer, people just sit at home on Thursdays.
They are there, but nobody's enforcing.
But nobody's enforcing. So
I remember Nigerians coming out to we said it was against our human rights to be asked to stay back on Saturday to clean up our environment.
We don't know where to stand most of the time.
All right, ladies, I think that's all we can take on the show today. But I think really, before we end, it's important for us to remind ourselves, yes, there's one thing an association can do to celebrate no mosquito, no malaria. That's an association. There's one thing government can do. But there's another thing that we must do. Cleanliness, taking care of our trash. Don't have stagnant water around, protecting the children, especially those in the neighborhoods. Instead of going around all the time buying rice and chicken for poor communities, buy mosquito nets. Those are things that are very more effective, things that they actually need. Those things help to protect them from malaria, because malaria is deadly. Yes. That's all we can take on the show. Join us tomorrow again. We'll see you for another day. Have a great day. Bye for now.